This is What School Didn't Teach Me, a podcast meant to build community on all the things school doesn't prepare you for. Hi, I'm your host, Jasmine Kiamber, and class is in session. Classmates, did you miss me? Because I missed you. I'm so nervous. Every time I start a new season, I'm nervous because I'm like, oh my God, like it's been so long since I've recorded. But I'm really excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back. I'm so excited to be back in the classroom. I told myself that I needed to come up with a new word instead of happy and excited to see you all in the classroom today. And I decided that every week I'm going to come up with a new word. So this week's word is overjoyed. I'm overjoyed that you decided to take time out of your busy day, out of your busy schedule to spend time with me, your host, Jasmine Camber, in the classroom. Welcome back to What School Didn't Teach Me. It has been a long 3 months, y'all. 3 or 4. Our last episode was in March, April, May, June, July. 4. It's been a long 4 months, guys, and I've missed y'all, and I hope y'all miss me like I missed y'all. I feel like I gotta catch y'all up. Because life hasn't been crazy, but life has definitely been slowly eventful, right? So I don't know. So by now, y'all should already know your girl didn't quit her job. I mean, I was never a 9 to 5 girl. What was my schedule? I was a 2 to 6 girl. So like I had a part-time job, but like I quit it. And people been asking me why. Why did you quit your job? Or when people ask me why, I just be like, oh, because God told me to. And that seems like a crazy response to why'd you quit your job? Oh, because God told me to. That seems like such a crazy response. But it's the truth. Like, I prayed about it. I was enjoying my job. For those who don't know, I worked with kids. I was an after school program coordinator. I worked with kids, tutoring kids, teaching, like helping them to be like actual, really decent, good adults or young adults. Like it wasn't just, oh, we was doing homework and that's it. Like, no, like we were doing behavioral intervention. Yeah. And I really do have a big passion for kids. Like I do feel like children are my calling. However, I did not feel like being at that job was what I was called to do. So at some point, like, at some point when your season is up, you start getting like really tired of certain things, irritable about certain things. Like you can tell when a season is coming to an end. But I didn't want to believe it because the whole reason I got that job was so that I could be a productive member of society, right? Like I wanted to make sure that I could contribute to, I live with my mom. So I wanted to make sure I could contribute to my household. I wanted to make sure that when I walked around, people didn't look at me like I'm a bum. Like I wanted to make sure I was out there getting the bag and doing what I felt like I was supposed to be doing as a young adult, right? As a college graduate. But the truth was God wasn't calling me to any of those things. God wasn't calling me to any of those things. And so I had got that job and my season was coming up on that job, but I didn't want to believe it. So I prayed for it. I said, Lord, if I'm not supposed to be at this job, like put some fire under my feet. Don't let me leave because I'm angry. Because like them kids will test your patience, child. Kids will test your patience. That's why I'm waiting till I'm 30 when I've got it all out, when I have the patience. Kids will test your patience. And so I'm like, oh Lord, like I don't want to leave out of anger or spite or whatever, right? Like let me leave because it's actually time for me to go. And honestly, what really put the fire under my feet was I was thinking about how much time I was using, how much time, space, energy I was using to get to a job where I did not 100% feel appreciated, and I could be using that same energy to pour into my own dreams, my own nonprofit. Shout out to the Hat Foundation. Yeah. And so yeah, your girl quit her job. Your girl quit her job. And it made me realize, like, in the past, well, it's July, so more than 6 in the past year. maybe a little more than a year. I'll give it like 18 months. In the past 18 months, my life has changed drastically. Like, I am not at all in the position that I thought I was going to be when I entered college, right? Like, even even all throughout college, right? Like, when I'm talking to people, I tell them like I knew exactly what my life was going to look like up until the up until my second semester of senior year. Like, my second semester of senior year, God completely pulled the rug from under my feet, like really just shook my world up, and I wasn't ready for it. And I remember coming to terms with it. Um I remember coming to terms with it in the end of my first season. What is it? Yeah, at the season finale of season 1 of the podcast. Like, I literally remember sitting down, recording the episode, telling y'all that like my life was changing, and I didn't really know what that meant for me. Yeah, I didn't know what that meant for me just yet, because I was going through a serious burnout at school. Like, I literally remember arguing with my pre-law director about me taking a gap year, because I was telling her like, girl, like all my shoes are dirty and I just want to clean my shoes, and I don't have time because I'm doing this, and this. Like, I'm doing this, and this. Like, I don't have the time, space, and energy I want to pour into myself. I realized that I was doing so much for my professional career, for my academic career, and I was not doing enough for my, what I like to call my life resume, right? Like, I was not giving myself enough space to pour into myself, to pour into my life, right? And so at the time, I just thought it was burnout. I thought like I needed to take a gap year and to just figure it out, right? I needed to get through law school applications. I needed to take a gap year, call it what it was. And then I literally remember laying on my bed and God being like, go home. And I wanted to go to law school in DC. I think those were my two options, like DC, New York, or back home. And so I literally remember God telling me, like, sitting on my bed, like I was sitting on my bed, and I think I was praying about like just what I need to do to finish my applications, because the application process was hard for me. And he was like, go home. I was like, go home, like, go to USC, like, because I'm not going to UCLA. I'm just not that type of girl. Like, go home, like, what do you mean? What do you mean go home? And he was like, go home. Like, you have things you need to work on at home. Hmm, go home. And I was so confused. Like, I was confused because I think I just did not want to accept that what God was telling me to was to work on the last thing He gave me. I know y'all have heard that phrase before, right? You'll be praying to God for something, asking for something over and over and over, and you'll see something on social media that says, "Do the last thing God told you to do." Like, God will not grant your new prayer request until you obey His last instruction, right? And so I felt like God was telling me, like, you need to go home and you need to work on your nonprofit. You need to go home and you need to work on your podcast. Mind you, neither of these things at the time were making me any money. And he did not mention law school. He said, go home and work on your nonprofit. Go home and work on your podcast. Those are the things I have given you. And I was like, and go to law school, right? Like, and go to law school. Like, if I go home, I'll be able to go to law school and work on a nonprofit and work on my podcast, right? Like, that's what you mean by go home, right? So I studied on. Like, I finished my applications, and then after I finished my application, as the year continued to roll out, I realized like, oh, I'm officially taking a gap year. Like, I'm not going right now. I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna focus on the things God has told me to do, all the things, right? So I graduate, I cross that stage, and then I get home and I start working on the things God told me to do. And then I drop all of those things to start the law school application all over again. Because somewhere around the way, I got really, really scared, and I was not comfortable with how uncomfortable I was not having something that I felt like was stable and set, right? Law school is the most stable thing you could do. Law school will guarantee you a job, it'll guarantee you knowledge. Law school just seemed like my safe route. It was the route that I had dedicated my whole life to. Like, literally everything in my life not revolved around me going to law school, but it's like everything in my life geared towards me becoming a lawyer. And so I could not face the that detachment, right? I could not detach myself from that piece of my life because it did not feel safe. So I dropped everything I was doing to work on law school applications, and literally everything suffered from that. The nonprofit suffered, the podcast suffered. Like, I literally could see the podcast suffering because I was trying to fit law school into my life. And it got to a point where I knew I was forcing it, right? This is a long story. This is a long story. But it got to a point where I knew I was forcing it, right? Like, I'll never forget. I literally was up in the middle of the night studying. And then out of nowhere, I just started bawling, crying because I realized how tired I am. And I realized I've been doing all of these things to keep law school in my life, to force law school in my life. And God is obviously closing that door. Like, I couldn't get any letters of recommendation. I wasn't getting the score I wanted. Studying was just getting more and more taxing and more difficult. It's like, oh my God, God is closing the door. And you don't want to believe that he would close the door on something like law school. Like, doesn't he want the best for me? Doesn't he know I'll be making big bank if I go to law school? But no, that's just what it was. And I just didn't want to believe that. So I let go of law school. Like, I had to tell my family, I had to tell my friends, I had to accept it for myself. I actually recently just talked to somebody about it the other day. Somebody who I was scared to talk to about it. And they were like, oh, I completely understand. Like, I understand when God changes your plans. Like, don't even trip. Like, don't even trip. And my family was like, you know, don't don't ever do anything because you feel like you have to please other people. And I feel like that's what I was, to a degree, that's what I was doing. Like, I had told everybody I was going to go to law school. That was my life path for my life. And I may not have been trying to please other people, but I may have been trying to please little me, who knew she wanted to go to law school. Either way, long story short, I let go of law school. And then shortly after that, God told me I had to quit my job. And I was like, God, you have put the fire under my feet to quit my job. But, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I can't be broke. I can't be broke. Do you see me? Do you see me? I can't be broke. Like, God, you gonna have to work something out for your children because the children can't be out here looking raggedy. Like, what are we gonna do? And God has really, like, since obeying, my life has been 75% stress free. Like, there are still stressors around me because there are stressors in life and you'll never be able to get rid of those. But, like, the weight that I felt trying to fit certain things into my life that did not belong there, I no longer feel. And I have been graced with the time that I needed to pour more into my podcast and pour more into my nonprofit. Like, I'm okay, this is really my baby. And so since then I've really been blessed because even though I don't have a traditional job, because it's not like I don't have a job, it's that I don't have a traditional job. The kind of job that grants me the same type of stability that I'm used to seeing other people have. No. I am employed. I just work for myself. To be this young and to be working for yourself is insane to me. To be this young and to be what I feel like is walking in my purpose, walking in my purpose is exciting and a little bit insane to me. And I feel like in the time that I have accepted what God is telling me to do, even though it seems unusual and unconventional and like unstable and unreasonable. Like, I'm 21. Like, people be asking me what's next, and it's like, babe, I don't know. I don't know. Ask God. Like, I don't know. Ask God. And this is not an exaggeration. Like, I'm literally just waiting on him. But I feel like, on one hand, like, this is insane. Like, it feels strange to have as much free time, leisure time that I do to pour into the things that I love. But then it also makes me think, man, this is what my 20s are about. Like, this is what it's supposed to mean to be 20. We spend our whole lives working on our professional careers, working on our academic careers. But what about us? What about our actual lives, right? Like, what are we doing to actually pour into ourselves and to learn about ourselves and to invest in ourselves, right? And that's what I feel like I've been given the grace to do now, right? Like, now I got time in the middle of the day to go outside and just do yoga, right? Like, to go outside and color on my coloring book because I'm done with my to-do list today. Like, I have the liberty to work from the library or from the Grand Central Market because I make my own schedule. You know what I'm saying? I have the liberty to do what I want with the money that I have. I still gotta learn how to. I gotta learn money management. We're gonna have a conversation about that soon. But I have the freedom to do what I want with the money that I have because I don't pay rent. I don't pay bills. Like, I have not hopped into the roles that society says we have to hop into as soon as we graduate college. And not everybody gets that same liberty. Not everybody is blessed with those same opportunities. But there is always time for you to invest in yourself. There's always time for you to pour into you. You just have to make the time, right? And so it really inspired me because I feel like my life is unordinary and unconventional for me, right? Like, I'm so used to structure and now I have to create my own structure. But a part of that structure includes self-care. A part of that structure includes checking in with myself and my own development. A part of that structure includes making sure that I am doing something every day that adds up to what I want to be doing for the rest of my life, right? And so I saw this post that said, dang, what did it say, y'all? I saw this post that said that if you have a podcast, you should look at every season like an album, right? You know how each album is a little bit different. The songs are different. When you think about SZA's Control, it's completely different from SZA's SOS. Completely different, right? Like, if you think about Summer Walker, her Still Over It is completely different from her Soft Life EP. Every album is different because, of course, we're going through different parts of our lives, right? And I was like, oh, like, that's a really great idea. What would be the album name of this season? What would be the theme of this season? Y'all know What School Didn't Teach Me is a personal development podcast, right? So I thrive off of things that make us better, right? Like, I thrive off of little tips and tidbits of how I can be the best version of myself, how I can walk into my purpose and into my dreams. And I really want the classmates to be doing the same thing. I really want all of us to win. I really want all of us to win. And so when I was thinking about it, I'm like, what could be the theme for season 3? Right? Season 3, I don't know. I have a really, really good feeling about season 3. You know how they say third time's a charm? I feel like I've combed out some kinks, and I don't know. I just really feel like third time's a charm. Like, I really feel good about season 3. Season 1 was amazing. Season 2 was really fun. But season 3, I feel like, is a season of elevation, right? And so when I was thinking about what the theme was going to be, I really want all of us to start betting on ourselves, right? I really want all of us to start pouring into ourselves. And so I'd like to formally introduce What School Didn't Teach Me season 3's theme as invest in yourself. That's what we're going to be talking about all season. Different things that you can do that have both short-term and long-term goals. Things that I'm still working on. Things that we may have never even talked about on the podcast before. Things, we might talk about some stuff we talked about before, like we talked about friendships, we've talked about relationships. We'll definitely revisit those conversations from a new perspective. But like, I want to get into some conversations that we may not have had in the classroom before. Conversations that will promote us to start pouring more into ourselves. And I'm not telling you to throw away your professional dreams and careers, throw away your academic careers. I'm just telling you there's more to you than that, right? There's so much more to you than what you are obligated to do society wise, right? Like, really, your only job is to be who you are and die, right? Like, and who are you if you are not yourself authentically, right? And so I feel like this season I really want us to inch closer to who we are honestly, like being who we want to be honestly. And so yeah, like season three's theme is invest in yourself. Write it down, lock it in your brain, because we're gonna talk about every week. Every week, that's our theme. Different things that you can do that have short term and long term goals. I know we get so used to instant gratification. I was talking to a friend and we were talking about how our society is so caught up in, if it doesn't make me money, if it does not have instant gratification, then it has no value, right? But what about the things that you need for yourself? What about your spiritual value? What about your mental stability, right? Like all of these things you have to continue to pour. What about your dreams, goals, and aspirations? All of these things you have to continue to pour into that might not have instant gratification and it might not make you any money right away. But in the long term, that investment that you have made will pay off tenfold if you keep working on it. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm really excited about season three. I'm just really excited to hop in. Like I am. I am. Yeah. And I've been watching, I know last season I mentioned it. Last season I asked y'all what were some things you wanted to see in just this second chapter of What School Didn't Teach Me, right? Like this is year two. You know, we just completed year one. This is year two of What School Didn't Teach Me. Season three, year two, or year two, season three. And I asked what y'all wanted to see. And a lot of people said more guests. Bet. I got some great guests lined up. We've got some great conversations lined up. And I'm just so excited for what this season has to offer. Like, yeah, I'm really glad to be back. Like, I am overjoyed to be back. And I hope you're glad you're back too, because I'm glad that you're here with me. If you're not watching this on YouTube, what are you doing? Like, y'all, season three, we got to get our YouTube count up, okay? We gotta get them views up. Spotify, Apple Music, YouTube. See me on YouTube. Yeah, I'm trying to think what else was on the to-do list or what else was on the agenda to talk about before I let y'all go. Hold on. Y'all know I keep my notebook by my side. Okay, so yeah, new guests. I'm excited to bring new guests. And I just wanted to and I know it's the middle of the year, right? It's July. It's month 7. And I don't know about y'all, but I've been looking at my New Year's resolutions, right? I told y'all at the beginning of the year, I showed y'all my vision board and I said, y'all, I have a lot of vision board. I have a lot of items on my vision board and they got to get done. And I am proud to say that most of the items on my vision board are done, but I have had to review my, like in March, I had to look, I realized like, oh, it's month 3. Like it's month 3. 2024 is here. Like she's present. She's made her entrance. What am I doing? Like, not what am I doing in a way of judgment, but like, I got to make sure I get the things that I want to do done. I can't let the year pass me by. Like I just won't do it. Right. And so I was like, okay, I need to review my New Year's resolution. I need to just go back, look at it, see how I'm going to get these things done and just get them done. And I found that when I looked at it, there were a lot of things that were on my New Year's resolution that I just did not care about the same way anymore, right? Like I found myself crossing out a lot of things from my New Year's resolution. And like, you know, there were things about law school in my New Year's resolutions. There were certain programs and organizations that I wanted to be a part of that I just don't see myself doing this year. There were certain things that I just didn't care about as much. Like certain bags that I wanted to buy that I just don't see myself buying this year. Maybe next year because I still want those bags, but they're just not my priority for this year, right? And so if you're sitting here and it's like, okay, girl, it's July, like what am I doing? What have I done? Or I don't even want to look at my New Year's resolution because I don't even want half these things anymore. That's okay. That's okay. Like it's normal to want different things because who you are at the end of 2023, who you were at the end of 2023 and who you are now may be a different person, and that's okay. So like if you see yourself with your New Year's resolution and it's like, "Oh my gosh, I haven't done anything," but you've enjoyed your year so far, don't judge yourself. Don't put that pressure on yourself to like go and check off those boxes if that's not what you really want. Because I think the whole reason we make New Year's resolutions is so we make sure we enjoy our years. So our years are as productive as we really want them to be, right? So as long as you feel like you're still walking in purpose and you're still enjoying your life, don't be worried about a New Year's resolution. But one thing that was on my New Year's resolution, I had a lot of podcast stuff on the New Year's resolution. Most of the things that I feel like I have done and done proudly or I'm still working on, um, but one thing that that was on my New Year's resolution and I really would like to get done is a book club. I really want What School Didn't Teach Me to have a book club. Like first 30 pages, I want that to be the name of our book club. We've already reviewed a couple books. Reviewed The Neighbor Favor, 10 out of 10. Hotel 21, How to Not Drown in a Glass of Water, and Passing. Y'all, Passing took so long for me to read. I don't even know why. I don't even know why it took so long for me to read, but I think that's all the books we reviewed. I plan to review some more, but y'all let me know because I would really love for us to have a book club. Like I enjoy reading. Y'all know reading a certain amount of books was on my vision board, so I really enjoy reading, and I would love for that to be a way for the classmates to connect. Like I know y'all love knowledge as much as I do. I know y'all love self development as much as I do. And so I really feel like a book club is just, I don't know. I just feel like it's right up our alley. So if you would be interested in that, let me know. I have to admit that I was scared. Like I've never started a book club before. I've been a part of a book club, but I've never started a book club before. Um, and I was going to let this be something on my vision board that I just kind of swept under the rug. But when I say things out loud, it helps hold me accountable. When I know that it's something that y'all are actually interested in, it holds me accountable. So let me know. I'd really love for First 30 Pages to be a book club. And if you would be interested in joining the book club, if you would be interested in reading books, like just reading books with us, like let me know because I'm interested. And once I know that y'all are interested, we literally can get started. Like I literally will research everything that I need to do to start a book club. Yeah, let me know because that's something I'm actually interested in doing. The last thing I want to update y'all on is my recording schedule. So each season is, I've decided like each season will be about 6 months. I'm gonna do 6 months in and 3 months out. Okay, so 6 months in of recording, 3 months of a break, so I can prepare for the next season, so that I can just do all the things that I need to do to be ready for the next season. So I can rest, so I can prepare for the next season, so I can rally up new guests, so that I can record ahead of time, all those things, right? So those 3 or 4 months, those were much needed. And I think that that schedule will help me be more efficient and consistent as a podcaster. So 6 months in, 3 months out. Okay, so when the season is over, expect to see me 3 months later. Okay, back with y'all in the classroom, because that's my favorite place to be. But I think that's it. I'm so excited to have more conversations on how we can invest in ourselves. I'm so excited for the guests that I have in store and the conversations and the notes that they're going to pass on to classmates. And y'all let me know if y'all would be interested in a book club. So yeah, that's it. I hope y'all miss me like I missed y'all because I missed y'all bad. I am down bad for the classmates. So I hope y'all miss me like I missed y'all. And it just feels really good to be back in the classroom. I love y'all. And I'll see y'all next week.